Welcome, everybody, yet another episode of the Wrestling vs. the World podcast. If you're enjoying your day, sweet. If not, then what the hell ever. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed their Memorial Day weekend. I wanted to cover a little bit of an obscure topic of sorts because this was something that never, was a full-blown thing. But it technically counts because you can look it on Wikipedia if you want, because there's an article about it. The 2006 WWE quote-unquote draft. So, late May 2006, they're holding this draft to pretty much announce, hey, here's some people that are going to be jumping over to ECW when it becomes a new brand. Because a couple weeks after this date, ECW would be picked up as a third brand. It would have its own show after When I Stand and all that stuff. So I'm going to cover the two names that got drafted. There's one name that jumped ship over to there just a few weeks later after the ECW When I Stand show. And two commentators and talk about where they really went during their time in ECW. I know there's some other guys that kind of came, that were in the company beforehand and eventually went to the ECW brand, but I'm not going to focus on them in this episode. So we're going to start off Rob Van Dam, the main one. He was Mr. Money in the Bank, announced he was cashing in his contract in One Night Stand, and would go on to defeat John Cena for the WWE Championship, and as a result, he was also awarded the ECW Championship because he was the double champion. Sabu, he could have had that opportunity, but he did not work out as a World Heavyweight Champion with Rey Mysterio. But Van Dam, he's a double champion. It seems like everything was behind him, like involving the company and all that. And then July hits. And we've already covered that with that ECW review, where Van Dam, he was pulled over because he had stuff he shouldn't have in his car. So he had to drop both of his championships and then had to serve a 30-day suspension. And then once he came back, he was just there. He was still popular, but he never really got that chance to be in that position again. He might have had some shots for championships, but in terms of actually trying to be world champion again or anything, those days were done. And, you had the reunion of the ECW originals. They had the stuff going on with the New Breed the next year, but by next year, summer of 2007, Van Dam was gone. Burned out, unhappy with the company. I think his then wife was going through some health issues, so he departed from the company. Rightfully so, because it's if they're not going to really do something with you despite how popular you are, because, you made your own mistakes there, why stick around? Take some time off. Now, the next name, Kurt Angle, because he jumped ship over from SmackDown to Raw, which means he was on all three brands in the course of a year. Because, I know he came back, he went over to Raw with the 2005 draft. Then the beginning of 2006, my Raw contract expired, so now I'm on SmackDown. And then months later, he's over on ECW. And Heyman did try to get Rey Mysterio to join around this time too, but Mysterio, who's World Heavyweight Champion, decided, nah. So Kurt Angle came over, and I believe Angle was not happy about this because he felt like it was a downgrade. But, the ECW brand needed name recognition. They needed notoriety, and credibility and everything. And Kurt Angle was that guy to have, and he did have some pretty good matches to start. I did like seeing him choke out just incredible and everything. But this was also not a good thing because Kurt Angle was also going through his injuries and his painkiller problems. And then eventually it got so bad that he got so injured and was constantly addicted to the point where he had to leave. There have been conflicting reports saying that he requested his release because, he said in that WWE 24 special when he came back, saying that he asked Vince to part ways. Other stories say that Vince released him. Either way, he was gone because this was a problem. And instead of getting help after he left the company, because this was the later part of summer 2006, I think it was gone before SummerSlam, instead of taking time off and addressing his problems and trying to relax a little bit, he signed with TNA. And it's they gave him a lighter schedule, which is good, but it's just still, you're getting physical. You're out there having matches and everything instead of giving your body a rest and trying to overcome your problems. So it's I'm glad that he's since sobered up, but it took a while for that to happen. Now the next one, I'm going to mention Big Show here because even though this did not happen during the night of the draft, he did jump ship over to ECW because I've done that video review here on the channel where I talked about the WWE versus ECW head-to-head show that happened. And it's I think it was right before, I can't remember if this was before or after. I think it might have been after the debut of ECW's the third brand. Big Show, he won the Royal Rumble or the Battle Royal that they had where he ripped off the Raw shirt saying, I'm ECW, and ECW wins the match and everything by throwing out Randy Orton. So, at least with Big Show, he made history because, he made history off the back of the fact that Van Dam got suspended and had legal issues. But he became the only man, I believe he's the only man still in history, if I remember correctly, the only man to ever hold the WWF/WWE, WCW, and ECW World Championships. Because, like, he won it from Van Dam, and then to hold the championship for the next 5 months, with some issues in there, like the fact that they had to keep ignoring the brand split and give him challengers that weren't on the brand, like Kane and Ric Flair and Undertaker and Batista, which I can't wait to cover that one someday. It's just like, yeah, they made him Dominic champion for 5 months, but they didn't even have faith in their own roster to have top contenders to face him for that championship that he was holding. And then by the end of the year, he was already gone. Because it's just like, he was too injured and was out of shape and everything. He was like, wanted to take time away. He'd be gone from WWE for over a year. I know he would have at least one match away from there where, like, he faced Hulk Hogan and, like, somewhere in 2007. But he would be gone before the end of the year. So, like, already the 3 main wrestling names, out of the 5 names I'm bringing on this topic for the podcast, 3 of those names are already gone by the end of the year. Like, well, at least by next year, sorry. Van Dam gone the next year because, like, he was tired of this. Kurt Angle, he was gone a couple months after getting drafted. And Big Show, he was gone by the end of the year right after losing the ECW title at December to Dismember. And I don't want to relive that show because that gives me PTSD. Now, 2 other names that also joined the ECW brand, Taz and Joey Styles, both commentators. Joey Styles, I believe it was, like, beginning of May of 2006. I know I've got this on TheDoubleZTV, but he cut that work shoe promo where he's just like, oh, I'm tired of all this crap here on Raw. I'm tired of sports entertainment. I called, like, pay-per-views and everything on my own in ECW. It's like, yeah, before Don Callis got involved. But it's like he covered commentary on his own. He was, like, unfiltered. And now he's in a company where he's having to talk, like, put up with male cheerleaders and boogers and semen. And the chairman mocks God and all that stuff. It's like, spouting out his unhappiness about all this with the way the company is, and it's still relevant to this day, before walking away. And then not too long afterwards, he's on the ECW commentary team. And he also did have a right thing to gripe with the comments that he made about not being good enough to cover WrestleMania because he doesn't sound like JR, or not even good enough to cover Backlash. So Styles, he would, like, once ECW became the 3rd brand, he became one of the commentators there. He would be off the brand within a couple of years, because then afterwards he focused more on WWE's website and everything, and would get replaced by Mike Adamle, and we remember how unfortunate that became, because of Mike Adamle having memory issues and stuff with, like, his brain and dementia, I believe it is. But it's just like, within a couple of years, Styles is no longer doing commentary there. And then that same year, we would have the same thing with Taz, because Taz, they took him off SmackDown, put him on ECW. He would join, like, and himself and Joey Styles worked well as a team together. I know people probably remember a bit more with, like, Michael Cole and Taz, because, like, they were doing the commentary for longer. But later in 2008, after Mick Foley left for the WWE, which is, like, I think around the time of SummerSlam 2008, so after only a couple years in the ECW brand, Taz got put permanently back over to SmackDown, and then before WrestleMania the next year, he left because he left his contract expire. So this was like, you had 5 names that came over there that were active on television. Like I said, Van Dam, Kurt Angle, Big Show, Joey Styles, and Taz. Within 2 years of ECW forming, all 5 of those names were gone from the company. Injuries, unhappiness and burnout, being out of shape, working on other stuff, and just choosing to leave on his own terms. So yeah, this, like, it feels weird to know that they technically had a draft for, like, the ECW brand and everything at the end of May of 2009, or 2006, sorry. And it's just like, with 2 names to bring in over there, they could have benefited even having Rey Mysterio over there. Who knows? Maybe he would have had a better time on the ECW brand rather than SmackDown, especially seeing how bad his reign as World Heavyweight Champion was, and I already covered that before on the podcast. But it's like, we can only dream about how much better things could have been. But yeah, just let me know in the comment section below, with these 5 names, or even just that concept of a draft in 2006, just let me know what y'all thought in the comment section below about these guys and how they did in ECW, because like I said, it's just crazy that they did not last that long, because they eventually got replaced in some ways, like with the color commentators and everything, and eventually some guys came back, but they just, like Big Show, I know he was back before ECW was gone, didn't bother coming back to their brand, and rightfully so, because it was the show of its former self, at least compared to when it debuted and the feel of it. But just let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's episode of the podcast, folks, please remember, leave a like, subscribe to the bell, turn on here on YouTube, comment what you thought below, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for listening, folks. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and good day, everybody.